All right, I had to stop that last video yesterday earlier because the people that are coming to give me the IV infusion were calling. So they'll be here in a little bit. I'm good. I'm fine, you guys. Because remember, I'm recording this on Monday. Okay. So we are getting into something that, if you're not careful, is going to get real complicated. Buddhism. It's not complicated if you're paying attention. If you're zoning out or doing whatever, you're going to be like, what? Okay. So Buddhism actually comes from Hinduism. Okay. Um, the founder of Buddhism is this guy named Siddhartha Gautama, and he's actually from over here in India. Siddhartha Gautama was a upper class. I don't remember if he was a prince. No, I think he was a prince. So that would put him like with the Brahmin, but he was part of the upper caste in India. So he's from over here, okay? And he saw suffering. He saw the Dalit and the Shudra. He saw people suffering, and it made him sad. He saw upper level people, like upper castes, treating some of the lower castes badly, and it made him sad. He saw death, and it made him sad. He saw people hurting, and it made him sad. And he started thinking about suffering. He's Indian, okay? He's Hindu. Buddhism and Hinduism, they're not the same, but they have some overlap, okay? Because Buddhism comes out of Hinduism. Like when we talk later in our next unit about Christianity, Christianity comes out of Judaism. So there's some overlap there with Judaism and Christianity. That being said, there is some overlap here, all right? Because Siddhartha Gautama is Indian. Now, Buddhism is going to spread like wildfire all through the eastern places, China. Some in India, there are some Indian Buddhists, of course, but mostly it's going to spread in China, Japan over here, Korea, and then of course down here, Laos, Cambodia, Vietnam, all that good stuff. So this is Siddhartha Gautama right here. The first, obviously, is a picture, a drawing of him. The second is a statue of him with my big old head. All right, Siddhartha Gautama is referred to as the first Buddha. The word Buddha simply means enlightened one, the one who has been enlightened. That's what this right here is supposed to be around his head. That's what that's a symbol of. He's been enlightened, okay? To be enlightened means you have learned something. In this sense, it's like having a spiritual awakening. He understands all the mysteries of the universe. He understands all the spiritualness of the universe. He just understands everything. And it's almost like achieving that nirvana type place in Hinduism, but while you're alive, while you're a person, while you're still a human. You don't to Brahma, because in Buddhism, he didn't believe in gods. Siddhartha Gautama looked at the gods of Hinduism and said, this isn't real. Gods wouldn't treat people like we treat the Dalit. They wouldn't let that happen. So he was like, I don't believe that these gods are real. He's like, I think these are made up, a way to keep people in line. So he, in his idea of Buddhism, there are no gods. Anyone in Buddhism can become a Buddha. I forgot to set my timer. Let me just do it for 30 minutes now. In Buddhism, anybody can become a Buddha. Anybody can become enlightened. If Now, one thing I want to point out, and I'm going to talk about this more probably next week when I get back. I don't think I'll have time in this video. When you look at this statue of Siddhartha Gautama, a lot of the time in America, we see the Buddhas that are like smiling, they're kind of chubby. That's not a Buddha. I'm going to explain it, okay? But it's like a different, it's different. It's a, it's a bow, not a boo, a bow. But we'll get there. But just understand, like Siddhartha Gautama as the first Buddha, it's not the chubby little thing that you rub the belly. Totally different thing. Okay, totally different. Remember, I'm teaching you the historical medieval philosophy. Actually, this was before medieval, but it's okay. But anyway, I'm teaching you the historical, not the way it's like changed to the modern day, okay? So let me go back here. Here we go. Okay. Buddhism. In order to become enlightened, you have to first understand four things that Siddhartha Gautama figured out. Okay. Um, then, after you understand those four things and accept them, you then have to follow what he called the Eightfold Path. Um, the Eightfold Path, when you actually see it up here, it's circular. It's like a wheel. Okay, it's not a path like what we would think of as you start here and you end here. Quite often, in a lot of philosophies, we call philosophy circular thinking because quite often where you begin is where you end. I can always tell really quickly who's like, oh, philosophies are cool, or the kids who are like, ugh, I hate this. Because you're like, huh? Just go with it, okay? That being said, once you understand the Four Noble Truths and then you follow the Eightfold Path, you can become enlightened. I'm going to move my big old head up here. Hopefully you've finished that top part now, okay? And once you become enlightened, you do that by following the Eightfold Path, yes, but what you physically do, like what you're actually doing to follow the Eightfold Path, is a whole lot of meditation. Hindus meditate as well. Yoga, okay, they Hindu, they meditate as well. But in Buddhism, you like go into yourself and you focus on certain things, and you're focusing on those parts of the Eightfold Path to enlighten yourself, to have this spiritual awakening where again you basically reach nirvana, you reach total understanding, total peace, total clarity, but you do it while you're alive. And since there is no God in Buddhism, there is no Brahma for your soul to back to. Buddhists believe that our soul is also a piece of something bigger. It's not a God. It's something, they call it the great world soul. And it's just got like pieces of it are in everything that lives. Everything, not just people. Like my dogs running around have a piece of the great world soul in them. The grass outside that is all dead right now. It's not true. It's not all dead. I have some green grass, y'all. But because we're in a drought, the grass outside have whatever pieces of the great world soul in it also. The birds have pieces of the great world soul. Whenever you hear people like in movies or whatever say, in my past life, I think I used to be a bird. That's a Buddhist idea, not necessarily a Hindu idea. The idea that you can literally live a life as anything living. I mean, you can't be like a brick. Okay. You can't be, a coffee mug, but anything that's living in Buddhism, you can be in your next life, because Buddhists also believe in reincarnation. The idea is, if you die having not become enlightened, okay, then you're going to get reborn. However, there is no caste system. There's no caste system in Buddhism. Um, Siddhartha Gautama hated that idea of the caste system. He just, again, he thought it was a social construct to keep people in line. He thought it was awful. And so in his teachings, he said, I don't think that's true. He said, I don't believe that there are gods who placed us in these positions. And he said, I don't believe that there's this system of castes. And he said, I don't believe that whenever we get reborn, we move up or down a caste. He said, I believe it's completely random. However, you only get reborn if you haven't achieved enlightenment. So, like, I'll tell y'all, I'm not Buddhist. Okay, if you are, cool. If you're not, cool. I'm not Buddhist though. So the Buddhists would look at me and say, well, when she dies, she's going to get reincarnated because she has not become enlightened. Okay, reincarnated into what? Anything. Anything. I could be reincarnated into a Chinese man, or into a Russian dog, or, I mean, into anything that is living. Anything. There is no, it's not tied to my karma either. Okay. Buddhists also believe that if they meditate deeply enough, they can remember their past lives and learn from their mistakes. So there's a whole lot of intertwining with Hinduism, but there's also a whole lot that's very, very different than Hinduism. Okay. Um, I'm going to switch out of this completely because I'm going to go to a document. Next week, when I'm doing all your documents with you, you have a document that you need for this. It's this right here. Okay. This right here, these are the four noble truths. In Hinduism, I'm sorry, wrong religion. In Buddhism, Siddhartha Gautama said, if you don't believe and understand these four things to be true, then you are not on your way. Okay? The first noble truth is the noble truth of sorrow. Suffering could be used in place of that. Birth is sorrow, age is sorrow, disease is sorrow, death is sorrow, contact with the unpleasant is sorrow, separation from the pleasant is sorrow, every wish unfulfilled is sorrow. That's a complicated way of saying we experience hurt or pain or suffering or sorrow, like this says. We experience bad stuff when we don't get what we want. We want something. I want to be at school with you right now. I know you're like, really? Yes, I do. I want to be there. I am suffering because I'm not. I have COVID. Yes. I don't feel good, but y'all, I don't feel that bad either. I just feel kind of allergy-ish. I could teach, but I can't teach. You know what I mean? And so I feel terrible, like I'm not doing my job, like I'm hurting y'all in some way by not, I'm about to cry. I'm fine, you guys. But like I'm hurting y'all in some way because I want to be there, but I'm not. So the idea is life is suffering. We want and we don't get, so we suffer. It's that simple. We want and we don't get, So we suffer. Today, when you guys go to lunch, or if you already did go to lunch, you jumped in the car and your friends went to Rosa's for the fourth time this week. And you're like, oh, I really just want Chick-fil-A. You're mad the whole way. Even though you can drive, you're in a car with a bunch of seniors who offered to take you, but you're mad. Why? Because you wanted Chick-fil-A and you got Rosa's instead. You're mad right now in class because you want to be out. You don't want to be sitting in class listening to me yap on a video. It's boring. I know. You're mad. You're suffering because you want to be out. The first noble truth is life is suffering. There's pain in life. Once you accept that, then you look at the second noble truth right here. The second noble truth basically says the things that cause our suffering are the things that we want. I want, I didn't get, therefore I suffer. First noble truth, life is suffering. Second noble truth, desire, wants, cause suffering if you don't get them. If I want coffee and I'm drinking coffee, I'm happy. If I want coffee but I'm drinking tea because it's better for my throat, I'm suffering because I don't want tea, I want coffee. What you want that you don't get is what makes you suffer. So the first noble truth, life is suffering. The second noble truth, suffering is caused by unfilled desire. Desires that don't get filled, things that you want that you can't have. Then you have the third noble truth. The third noble truth basically says, you want to end suffering? Oh my gosh, it's so easy. Are you ready? Third noble truth, end suffering by ending desire. It's that simple. I'm here for a whole week. Don't worry about it. Don't want to be at school anymore. Just stop wanting. And I won't be sad that I'm not there. Easier said than done. You want Chick-fil-A. Just don't want it. And you won't suffer. Because that's easy. It's not easy. It sounds easy. Life is suffering. Suffering is caused by desire. Get rid of suffering by getting rid of desire. 1, 2, 3. Easy. But it's not easy because I can say all I want. Cool. I'm home all week. I'm about to cry. I'm fine, you guys. But I have a job to do. And my job is to get y'all to pass your AP test. Me being here, I'm not teaching. I'm not helping you. Therefore, I can say, just don't want. But did my want go away? No. You can say in the car, yeah, I don't really want Chick-fil-A. I'm okay with Rosa's. And you might be okay with Rosa's. But when you're eating that taco or whatever, you really wanted Chick-fil-A. It's easy to say, if you don't want to suffer, get rid of desire. But that's hard to do. So the fourth noble truth right here. The fourth noble truth is how you actually get rid of your desire. And in order to do that, you have to follow the eightfold path. I don't remember. I don't think I have the eightfold path on here. Okay. Let me grab this picture. Eightfold path. This is it right here. I can't zoom in. Of course I can't. That's okay. You can see. No, you probably can't. Copy. Okay, let me make this big. Okay. This is the Eightfold Path. How do you get rid of your desires? How do you get rid of your wants so that you don't suffer anymore? Follow this. It's a circle. I told you, a lot of the time, philosophical stuff is circular. Philosophies are circular. Quite often, where you start is also where you end. Here's what I mean. Right now, at this moment, a Buddhist would say that you are right here on the Eightfold Path because I have just told you the truth. The truth being the Four Noble Paths, okay? Life is suffering. Desire causes suffering. The way to end suffering is to end desire, and the way to do that is the Eightfold Path. That's the truth, according to a Buddhist, okay? Again, I know if you're sitting there right now and you're like, I'm Muslim, or I'm Christian, or I'm nothing. I know you don't agree with this. That's okay. Remember, this is what they historically believed, okay? So the idea is you are right here, all right? And then you start on your way. Could you go this way or this way? Yes. It's circular, so you can go whichever way works. Now, you're not going to jump over to here. You're either going to come here and learn how to start controlling your thoughts, or you're going to come here and start learning how to free your mind of when it says evil, it doesn't mean like evil, it means evil like negative. Okay. Both in both, either the right intentions or the right mindfulness, you're learning how to control your thoughts. The way you do that is with meditation. You sit in meditation and you try to free your mind. That's a lot harder than it sounds. Real quick, I want y'all to do something for me real quick, okay? You ready? When I say go, you're going to think of absolutely nothing for 5 seconds. Go. Okay, you probably had just a million thoughts run through your mind. You're probably like, wait, what did she say? Or some of you were counting. You're like, 1, 2, 3. Or some of you were like, monkey, chicken, dog. All these things just popped in your head. Or you were looking at me like, huh? So you thought something. To free your mind of no thoughts is incredibly hard. Incredibly hard. But the idea is that you try to meditate and have no thoughts. Free your mind. Whew, that's hard. Then, if you're coming this way, okay, you've freed your mind, you're going to have to start learning how to control your mouth, your speech. You should not be rude or mean to people. You should not be disrespectful to people. Historical Buddhism is highly calm and peaceful. You don't have Buddhists walking around like, cussing. You don't have Buddhists walking around making fun of people, historically speaking. You're trying to free your mind of evil things. Well, if you're being mean to someone else, that's pride. You're wanting to knock somebody down to lift yourself up. The whole point of Buddhism is to get rid of your desires. Well, if you're trying to knock somebody down by making you feel better, that's a desire, that's pride. So you're working on this. Now, oh man, what if you mess up? What if you suddenly have an evil thought? Then you have moved back and you start freeing your mind of evil again. Once you got there, you move forward. As you're getting better, with like evil thoughts, and as you're getting better with not saying mean things, then you start doing right by people. Here, let me do this. There you go. You start serving other people. Maybe you work in the soup line, or you give blankets to people or whatever. Okay, you help people. All right. You don't like rah, 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 when mom says take out the trash. You see that the trash is full and you automatically take it and she doesn't have to tell you. What? Because you serve people. Now, are there going to be times where suddenly you have a negative thought and you've gone from this part of the wheel back to this part of the wheel? Yes. So you start clearing your mind again. And then you start with your speech again. And then you start serving others again. Then you move here to where you respect life. You don't look at different like social classes as different whatevers. Or, Buddhists, they don't kill animals. I mean, I know, I know like if you step on a bug or something, it's like, like they don't do it on purpose. All right. You can always move back and forth. Okay. Because we aren't perfect. And you don't achieve enlightenment in 2 seconds. It takes time. As you come over here, you see, I'm going to have to start really focusing on that evil again. Look, evil, evil. Because again, it doesn't just go away. Our minds do that negative thought thing all the time. So you start again working on getting rid of negative thoughts again. As you keep going, you get deeper into like meditative trances, like meditative trances where like you go deep, like you don't even hear what's around you or whatever. Like you go way deep inside of you or whatever. And then here you can totally control your thoughts. You get to the point where you don't have any desires. Somebody says, hey, what do you want for lunch? And you truly have no desire. I don't mean like you say, oh, I don't care, but really you want Chick-fil-A, because we all do that. We're like, oh, I don't care. But you're like, please, 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 right? You really, truly don't have any desires. You don't desire to be better than somebody else. You don't desire to win that football game or volleyball game or whatever. You don't desire to have that boyfriend or girlfriend. You don't desire anything. You have been enlightened. You have no more desires. You are at complete peace. You are calm. You cannot be provoked to like crazy fights and stuff. You don't get crazy. You're total peace. When you go back and look at these pictures of Siddhartha Gautama, does he look like he's all crazy? Does he look like he's about to, I don't know, go nuts? Not at all. He looks peaceful and calm because he achieved enlightenment. Okay. Other people noticed that and they were like, wow, how is it that you haven't eaten good food or any food in forever and you're okay? And he's like, I feel hunger, but I don't desire. If I eat, I eat. If I don't eat, then my soul, when I die, will go to the great world soul. He says it doesn't matter. I've achieved perfect peace here on earth. He doesn't need beautiful clothes. He doesn't need, I don't know, status or whatever. He's calm. And y'all, oh my gosh, this spread like wildfire. Let me put my big old head over here. It starts here in this area, okay? And then Buddhism starts spreading like crazy, mostly by merchants and stuff. Buddhism is one of those, well, I just said religion, I'm sorry. It's one of those philosophies that because it's meditative, it's a one-on-one thing. Now there's groups of Buddhists that do it as groups. I know that. But it can be a one-on-one thing. Like you don't have a priest or whatever. You don't have like church that you go to on Sundays or whatever. If you're a merchant, you can easily travel around all of these trade routes here and be Buddhist at the same time. It's totally like one-on-one. So as a result, Buddhism starts spreading like crazy. You see it spreads through India. There are Buddhists in India. One of the really famous early Buddhist kings, his name is Ahsoka. Not your Star Wars Ahsoka, but it anyway, whatever. But his name is Ahsoka. And he was actually a Buddhist ruler. You'll also see Buddhism spread down here. Okay. And then, of course, you see it spread to China, Mongolia, and Japan and Korea areas. And it spreads farther, of course. But this is where it's like right here, it's like concentrated, so big time. Buddhism will also be mixed with some other religious beliefs. You would have Hindu Buddhists. You would have Shinto Buddhists over here in Japan. I'm coughing, I'm sorry. So anyway, people would like mix Buddhism with their religions, and then they have their religion that they like their God that they worship, but they're also trying to attain enlightenment at the same time. So it's a philosophy, it's not a religion, but it gets mixed with a lot of religions quite often. The entire idea of making Siddhartha Gautama a god, like we see so often in American Buddhism, you have people that like worship Buddha. He would he'd be so upset. He like rolls over in his grave every time that happens because he was very, very anti having a god to worship. And even whenever he became the first Buddha, and people were like, wow, you're the first Buddha or whatever, and people tried to worship him, he was like, oh, no, 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 no. He was very anti that. So you can just kind of see over the years like how things have changed and how as ideas, like if you look on here, how as ideas spread and they get mixed with other cultural ideas, those ideas change. And of course, it turns into, down here, Buddha's a god, but oh my gosh, no, he's not. You know what I mean? So, okay, we're going to stop there. Buddhism is complicated. So, whenever I come back next week, we're going to work on these documents that I showed you. I know you're like, what are those? Don't freak out. Okay. But we're going to work on these documents that I've shown you throughout. This right here, remember that? And then I just showed you the Four Noble Truths, and I'll review some of this stuff. But I'm not going to like teach Buddhism and Hinduism again. So if you're like, I don't think I got it, this is all on Canvas. Okay. If you still can't get to Canvas, we'll figure that out next week. And hopefully next week when I come, everything will be cool and I'll be fine and everything will be great and there won't be any issues. Yeah. Okay. Y'all be good. Bye.